Today is March 11, 2019 for the Village of Stryker regular council meeting at 6 p.m. Tonight leading us in the prayer is Mr. Rick Whittick, American Legion member. Mr. Whittick, prayer.
Please rise. Let us pray. Lord Jesus, as we gather this evening to do the village business, we ask that you be with all of us. And we ask that you be with our law enforcement and our firemen and our military, especially the ones that are overseas, Lord. As we continue this business tonight, be with all of us. We pray in your name. Amen.
And also leading us in prayer, or in the pledge, is Army veteran. I'll get it right.
Air Force.
Oh, I wrote it wrong. That's my fault.
I knew that. I apologize, even though we'll intersquabble with the branches, but Air Force veteran, Mr. Whittick.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
All right, thanks, sir.
You go.
My apologies.
That's all right.
You know, we all make fun
Better
of
is
the
better.
we make fun of the branches intermittently, but we all say we'd go Air Force next time. So, okay, with that, roll call.
Armstrong? Cameron? Yes. Bunner?
Yes.
Blevins? Oberlin? Tompkins? Yes.
Okay, and we had a heads up that both people were going to be gone today for tonight's meeting. That leads us right into citizens, and we'll start with Mr. Alexander. If you have anything for council tonight, or just visiting.
I'm visiting, but I'm also here with my neighbors.
Okay. Who? All three kind of together?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can.
We got, just for the camera, we got Mr. John Frank, and then also Mr. Rick Whittick as well. So whomever would like to,
I'll start. And then
Okay.
Mr. Alexander.
absolutely.
Well, some of you know about the problem of the straw in the village, and my neighbors and I are getting kind of tired of the mess. And we wonder what you could do for us. It's just, it makes our yards look ugly. We all three have a lot of pride in our properties. We notice a lot of it's in the street, washing down the drains. We noticed that the approach to the building, it's about a foot deep over there. The door's left open. There's rodent problems, different things like that. And we just wondered what you could possibly do for us to address the issue. I know we talked about it years ago. I think that Mr. Bob, thank you, Sperling, and was on the fire department. We looked at that avenue. We are assuming that no fire suppression is in the building yet, and we kind of wonder what's going to happen when the building catches on fire or explodes. And I'll turn it over to Mr. Alexander because he's your closest person to that building as a resident, and I know I would be uncomfortable also.
Can I just ask, what area are we talking? Because I'm not sure, I think I know where you're talking
The old
about.
metal forge building,
Okay,
they fill that crib full of straw.
okay, all right, I know where you're talking
Fire's a concern to me as well. None of us stands at the window watching for a fire. If it happens, it'll be gone before anybody can get there. And I'll be lucky if all it did was melt the siding on my house. So it's a grave concern for all of the neighborhood. And Rick mentioned the doors open. That happens a lot. It's probably home to a lot of critters that we don't want living in our community. At least it's there.
My main concern is what he just said, but like Rick said, we are pretty proud of keeping our lawns and stuff up. My terrace between the sidewalk and the street, it looks like I tore the grass up, and all year long, I think I'm growing new grass. It's all straw with the terrace, and along the curbs, it just piles up there. It's bound to go down your drains and plug them up. It's all along that street from, I see it all the way up to the Baptist church, all the way out.
And I know that, and Rick, you're well aware of this, you know, it's a topic that we've discussed, what we can do, with both our administrator and our solicitor here. That's a few things, I think maybe we need to revisit that again, since it is now affecting more than just a few or a couple. It's another avenue that we can definitely start looking into again.
We appreciate it.
And see what we
It's
can
all
do.
the way up to the Baptist church.
I mean, we have to be cautious. I mean, we want to make sure that, you know, that stuff isn't coming to you, but we also need to be protective of that owner as well, that they need to do what they're supposed to. So we need to look at all avenues. So let's revisit that again if we can. Okay.
One of the other neighbors didn't come tonight, but he has, I know the gentleman doesn't seem to want to work with us. The owner, or whoever operates out
Jane?
there. So,
I'll call you, I'm busy right
his suggestion was if the guy doesn't want to somewhat participate, how about we just have him go west-northwest after he loads his trucks? And at least put it out on that end of town.
Instead of coming through.
Then by the time he comes and makes the loop, the loose straw is gone. Another concern that I really thought about was, you know, correct me here when I get off base too far, you don't make no income off of this gentleman. I mean, there's no employees? Is this correct?
He pays a little bit of withholding,
Yes.
but not.
So, and you know, without your water,
Mhm.
if that ever goes up, I don't think you've got enough water in the town to put that fire out. So,
It'll be hot.
it'll be
hot.
Mr. Alexander, I don't wanna see his siding melt, nor burn his house down, so, that was a suggestion that, Mr. Short had, is could you just have him go that way, blow the straw off, if we can't do anything about it, and it keeps our city clean. You know, you can go right up on the main street of town here, and you'll find straw all the way to the south end of town. So, just, if we could do something, we'd sure appreciate it, as
I've seen him come into town off two. He goes right uptown, right down Lynn Street. Maybe we can just route him straight down Ellis Street and have him come in that way and take his, on West Lynn, and you can pull right into there and there's no straw. Everything should be gone by the time he gets out there.
And one of the other things was, we noticed during, not harvest season, but when he bales, and when he takes the bales into his property, then when the truck comes out empty, it's usually got about 6 to 8 inches of chaff on it. Then that's another bad time. So maybe if we could just talk to him a little bit, and work with him, you know, and eventually, it's gonna plug your drains up. And then we got that cost.
Yeah, we've cleaned them
Yeah.
more than once.
So,
Can I speak on the subject for just a
Yeah,
second?
yeah.
I will tell you all that I was contacted by the village and working on, trying to communicate with the owner about these issues. If he doesn't comply, the village's only option at that point is gonna be to file a lawsuit against him. But I do wanna know from the three of you, is there a particular time of year that he does this the most, or is it just continue every day of the week?
Well, when it's harvest time is when it comes in, but once he starts taking it out, it's any time
of the year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems he moves a lot of them at night too.
he does do that. He has, I've seen enclosed trailers, but I've also thought, as you gentlemen may have observed too, it seems like in the last month or two, it's really been heavy coming out of there.
Yeah.
And I don't remember that in the years past. So he's probably made different arrangements, but it's nasty down there right now.
And when he comes out of the, sorry, I don't mean to turn
No,
this into interrogation. When he comes out of the building or is going into the building, does he have his truck covered, or is it uncovered and the straw just blowing everywhere, or
Yeah, it's not a covered semi-trailer.
Usually it's open.
it's open?
And there's been times I've seen it, he hasn't even had it secured.
Thank you.
So there's no tarp, and even tarp is,
No.
okay.
And then there's no, like, officer says that it's not even tied down most of the time. It's packed in there tight, but it's certainly an insecure load, it's not tied down, so.
Thank you.
Anything else, Steve?
You know, I notice a lot of loads at midnight,
Do too.
especially since he's loading outside.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he actually loads the trucks, he leaves the truck outside and loads from the, and there's nowhere to park inside and load the truck, is that right?
Well,
I
they
think-
used, yeah, they unload inside.
They
used
load
to
and
load
unload
outside.
inside. yeah.
Inside, okay.
The
There's an open door.
garage, the door is broke, it's hanging in an angle, so they can't use the wind bay.
Okay.
Actually, the only way to drive a semi into that building is through the back.
Yeah,
There's a great
through the back.
entrance there.
They've added gravel back there and created
Yeah.
a drive so that they can pull up and then back straight into it.
Okay.
I think the reason they leave it open though is to allow for some moisture to get in there so it doesn't get so dried out. I don't know, it's just my guess.
Is there any fencing up around the property?
There's a fence on the east side that was installed by the previous owner.
Does that catch any of the straw?
Yeah,
or-
it catches some. But it doesn't catch anything that blows off the trail.
No, no. By the time he pulls out and comes on the street, it's just a cloud of straw.
You can drive past the front and it's just laying in the parking. You know, when I delivered council packets last month, it was pretty thick.
How often a day does he do that? Is it frequently during the day, or is it just once a day?
It varies, but there, like Mr. Alexander said, it's been in late hours, evenings, like he's almost trying to do it when nobody observes, but our officers are seeing it too, so. But it can be any time.
Can be a couple of loads at a time and then nothing for a week.
As far as what Rick said about the trucks having shaft in the bed, that's one that really flies. They can at least sweep it off or something before they take off.
So this is great information for our
It is, yeah,
solicitor.
thank
So we're kind of taking advantage of the time that we have you here.
Yeah. If you think about it, there's loose straw everywhere, and that's basically tinder for a fire. Maybe a pail's not gonna start on fire, but all it takes is a spark and the loose stuff moving around, and it's everywhere.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank you.
Do you have anything further you wanted to ask
No, I
them?
thank you. Thanks.
It's okay. All right, thank you, gentlemen. We'll
Thank
see
you.
what we can do. That puts us into the prior minutes dated 2/11, Tech 19. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the meeting minutes to 11:18.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
And any questions or comments before we vote? Roll call.
Benner,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yeah.
Cameron. Yes.
Finance reports, looking for a motion to approve on 3/6/19. Is there a motion? Or, I'm sorry, to accept?
I move we accept.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And any comments for Beth prior to voting? Okay, Beth, you got anything that you want to discuss with the minute, or the finance?
Just roughly, we brought in a little over 90,000 in revenue, and we spent a little over 66 out since last month. So, good month.
Okay, roll call.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Cameron,
Yes.
Benner.
Yes.
Communication, anyone have the communication? I have one item that I'll share. After you guys are done with the communication, quiet month or? Quiet month. That's kind of nice though. What I have here is, this is from the Ohio EPA. They're hosting a public meeting regarding the proposed well site. And this has to do with the aquifer artesian of Pioneer. The date of that is a public information session at 6 p.m. on March 12th. So that is tomorrow night at 6 p.m. and that is going to be at the Fayette Local Schools. They're in Fayette at 400 East Gamble Road. So if you're interested in attending that, probably not a bad idea to get some information from them, for or against it. It'd be a great time to get some information. So again, that is March 12th, 6 p.m., which is Tuesday night at Fayette Local Schools. Do you need a copy of that to see? Okay.
And that is open to the public?
That is open, yep. It's Ohio EPA hosting public meeting regarding proposed well site. So, definitely, you follow social media, it is a hot topic.
I'm just wondering how many know about this and if it's something we should put on the Almighty What's Happening page.
It's been on quite a few.
Has it been on, I haven't been on social media lately. Okay. Oh, I'm sure it is, but if you're interested in doing that, it's out there. That leads us into the committee reports. If you notice, you should have got that probably came through today. And then just as a reference, the 121.03 standing committees, that explains them as well. Looked at maintaining, I think on this one I maintained 2 in the group and then had a new one kind of come in. The one that I had very little say in was Mr. Armstrong on the finance committee because the presiding president is the person there. So I had no say in that one. The hammer. So there are those. I apologize for the delay. I wanted to make sure we got through the January, and then with me not being here, I truly appreciate Lee filling in for me last month. Old business. Anything with old business on that side? Let's go into the legislative. We were looking to do a suspend and pass with these 3. However, because we do not have enough, what we will do is do a first reading of each of them. So looking for a motion to approve first reading of Resolution 03 TAC 2019 TAC 1. It's a resolution appointing Attorney Ryan S. Thompson as the village solicitor for the village of Stryker, Ohio for the sole purpose of collecting municipal income taxes owed to the village of Stryker, declaring such as an emergency. However, we're not doing the emergency. Okay? So that is the motion. Is there a motion to accept the first reading?
I'll accept the first reading of resolution 03219-1.
And a second?
I'll second.
And then roll call.
Armstrong,
Yeah.
Cameron,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Tompkins.
Yes.
Okay, looking for ordinance 2019 TAC 02. An ordinance to amend ordinance number 1997 TAC 11 for the OEPA.
Want me to explain that?
Yeah, let me get the motion and before we vote, I'll have you explain it. So, looking for a motion to pass the first reading of that. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to pass the first reading of ordinance 2019-02.
Okay, and a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And before we do that, want to go ahead and explain that just a touch?
With our sanitary survey from the Ohio EPA this January, we discovered our ordinance is not up to date on backflow prevention and booster pumps, which all we had in there was backflow prevention for industry, businesses, that type of thing. And they require to have booster pumps in the ordinance. So that's pretty much what this is. We're adding this to the ordinance.
Okay, any questions before we vote?
So we're not changing anything other than just verbiage?
Yes.
Correct.
getting up to, yeah, we're getting up to the compliance, to get where we were at. Okay, roll call.
Cameron,
Yes.
Benner,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Armstrong.
Okay, looking for approval of the first reading of ordinance number 2019-03. It's the 2019 revised permanent annual appropriation ordinance. Is there a motion for the first reading?
Motion for the first reading of 2019-03.
And a second?
I'll second.
Okay, and Beth, you wanna clarify that just?
Yeah, what we're looking at is, and I'm gonna let Ellen jump in on this one too, because it's kind of both of us. Our, we believe 79 might be older tractor that we used to pick up brush is having some major,
And mow the lagoon.
and mow the sewer lagoons, is having, in need of some major repairs. And when he came and he was asking me about a purchase order for it, I said, how old is it? And how much do we use it? Well, with the storms, we took like over 19 loads of brush to Overland, so it gets used pretty frequently. It used to sit out there underneath our old salt shed, which got blown down in the storm.
That's
But,
another story.
That's another story, but, basically, it was gonna be, it's gonna be at least $3,000 to $5,000 to repair. And my question was, 79 and the value of it and our sewer balance, since we did pay off the sewer loan, we do have a good carryover balance in the sewer, and it is a used majority of sewer work. I thought maybe we should look at just replacing it versus putting money into repairs of it being that old of a piece of equipment. So what I'm asking is to put 40,000 in the budget so that Ellen can go look. Well, we look for used, look for new, look, and the excess, we don't think it would be that high, but we also have 2 sewer pumps that are in need of repair this year, so I'm also looking at that, so I'm asking to increase operating. We know the one pump, we got an estimate, it's at Buckeye Pump right now, and it's 12 to 18,000 to rebuild. And we have another one that we just found out that is having issues too, so I'm asking to increase basically the sewer fund 40,000 to look at the tractor and the pumps.
And one thing to remember with that type of accounting, it's not money that we can give to other places. It needs to be used for that specific. So if there's people thinking, no, they have access in this area, it needs to stay in that area because of the type of accounting it
It needs
is.
to be used in
So,
sewer.
so that is an account that's setting good for what is needed and for any expenditures. If we got one that's that old, it's done well. It's done well.
With that said, I did do some checking already with some dealers. Found out that good used is within about $5,000 to $10,000 new. So, and we're looking, the mid-30s probably.
What kind of tractor is this?
Well, I mean, I checked with the John Deere.
No, I mean the one that is.
Oh, this one? This is a Ford, a utility tractor.
Old Ford.
Old.
Industrial yellow Ford. That's how old it is.
So, okay, any other questions before we do pass the first reading or vote on the first reading? And roll call?
Benner,
Yes.
Tompkins,
Yes.
Armstrong,
Yes.
Cameron.
Yes.
Leads us into village officials, and we'll go right with the police force right off the bat.
Just so you know, shave the head just so I can look like I'm always gone.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. No, if you guys haven't already been told, Adrian, our female officer who's working right now, she's accepted a full-time position with Pioneer. I believe her last day with us will be the 23rd of this month. We are looking for other applicants. No one's applied, but we are looking into the female who was working in West Unity, Desiree Hahn. We're looking at possibly bringing her on. Other than that, there's nothing really to pass other than our call level. For last month until now, we've had 68 reports, 14 traffic warnings, 4 citations, 3 adult arrests, and 1 juvenile arrest.
Okay, any questions?
Do we have to have a female officer on, or is it just good practice because sometimes we need one?
We don't have to have one on, but if we chose not to, they could probably say we're discriminating. We've had female officers in the past. And honestly, I think that Adrian has done a phenomenal job since she's been here. When we had Chantel, she did a phenomenal job. They're two kind of the same people. They're very well asserted. They don't really carry a chip on their shoulder, but they stand their ground, and I think they've done well.
Not for or against, we're equal opportunity. Is that the political way to say it? No, in either case, we're just looking for quality people.
I just wonder if there's something that
I did not know that.
would mention that had to have a female and.
No,
No.
it's not like OSP where if you try to get a job with them, if you're not Mexican or African American or female, you're probably not getting a job.
So it's kind of nice in this area that we can look more for the person, look at the person and their abilities than we can other avenues. So that's great. Okay, thank you. Mr. Administrator.
I guess I touched on the ordinance a little bit
Yep.
about the EPA. Back to that, we also had a violation, which that was one of the violations. Basically, the rest of them were just getting things up to snuff on the reporting and the laws that change frequently. So our consumer confidence report for 2018 is now available on the website. And that's about all. Everything else was pretty much normal with that. The water line project under the railroad is all completed but the asphalt work for the parking lot and the road, the street. And that's not gonna be available till the asphalt plants are up and running when the weather warms up. If you probably noticed, the old salt shed back here in the high winds got blown down, which was getting in kind of tough shape to begin with, so we had a dumpster brought in and the guys ended up cutting everything off and putting it in the dumpster and it's all cleaned up, so.
Do you project that we're going to need something in the near future?
No, I think we're okay. It was just not taken down. I thought, well, it could be used for a storage shed until it got so bad. It was no longer used for salt.
Okay.
Then this other one was replaced back in the early 2000s, so. That's all I have. If anybody has any questions?
Okay. That leads us into other, which I will start here on my left.
I'm good.
I'm gonna start on my left more often. Okay. Got anything?
Yeah, Alan, the director of the senior center, wanted me to thank you for the new hand railing. It's appreciated, and the seniors are very, very appreciative of that assistance. So,
Thank you, and I did fail to mention, we did have a new handrail put in there, and they did respond with a thank you note to all the village, and to you guys, thanking you for it.
But happy seniors, that's a good thing
Happy directors, even better.
for me.
For you, yes. Okay, anything else? Okay, next.
I'm just working on trying to figure something out for the river cleanup.
Okay.
trying to get something organized for that. I mean, if we're gonna put something in for commuters, they have to have some place to go. So, I just wanna get that cleaned up.
To the other side. So with that, do you have any more information on kind of where we stand? I know it's coming this year, for this calendar year, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I just signed the engineering, or we did with the engineering contract, I think it was like, for engineering, it's like 3,200 to do it. But, we just signed off on that at the end of February, so Bogemeyer should be getting with us. That's who, the engineer firm that got us the NatureWorks grant that we'll be using, so they should be getting with us when the weather gets nice. I do have some ideas about the river cleanup.
Let's talk,
From when I was in Boy Scouts, I know they always look for projects,
always.
so.
Okay, good. Look actually forward to that coming. Okay, anything else? Okay,
The only thing I had, Mr. Gooding and his friends took care of, so.
okay,
I do have one more thing.
okay. I was coming to you guys next.
Okay.
We'll jump in the middle. Go ahead.
This weekend, there will be a company in here painting walls. I got quotes and I did go with one to repaint the wall white and use the striker blue where the paper is. And this wall will be painted, so it'll be like a Saturday, possibly Sunday. We're gonna have the police, everything will be secure in here and the police will leave them in and out.
Okay. That'll be a nice little needed touch-up.
Phase
Change of
one.
scenery.
That's
Phase,
phase one.
whoa. Phase two.
It's
So-
flooring.
Okay.
Yes.
This flooring has been around probably since many of us used to check out books.
Yes.
At least that.
Mine were the picture kind, the checked out books. Okay, good. So that'll definitely spruce up the place and look nice. Coming back around, you got anything?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And our solicitor? Okay, I have one last thing. Want to kind of just throw a couple names out there. And I'm sure that this has happened throughout. I know it truly has. But this was two that I noticed. So if you guys ever see something that you want mentioned, please let me know about it. But here about 6 weeks ago, we had that big snowstorm come through, or 8 weeks. And there was two people that were actually cleaning sidewalks that weren't even theirs. And that's the nice thing about Stryker. You have that community, taking care of neighbors. So I wanted to recognize two of them tonight that I seen, and I know there's probably more. Tom Horton and Tony Guthrie. There was two that I was amazed at what they were doing, and again, I'm sure there's many more. This is just two examples of it, but that's really nice community. That's Stryker.
Tilly family did a lot of that.
Tilly family did as well. Okay. So a lot of times you're getting these people that are doing things and they're not asking for anything at all. They're just doing it because it's the right thing to do. So,
And I tried, with Tony to donate some money for gas. I mean, he does that whole end of town for us and does a great job. And he's like, no. So Subway gave him the lunch.
so that's kind of cool about Stryker. You don't get that in some of the big cities or even maybe some of the surrounding, but that's home. So, okay, if there's nothing else, need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
And a second,
I'll do it. I'll second it.
and roll call.
He didn't do the all in favor.
Tompkins? Yes. Armstrong?
Yeah.
Cameron?
Oh, that was close.
Yes.
Better.
Yes.
All right, camera.
Curling right there, so bad.
Just vote no to say no.
Exactly.